Today I'll show you how to make a DIY stone-carved sink with custom gold leaf details. This might be my favorite project ever, so let's get started on modern builds. This project began as a big rock on my property in Joshua Tree, and it was heavy. Oh, okay, here we go. I brought the rock over to my workshop where I built a basic 2x4 platform to work with it on. That was heavy. This rock is a lot larger than what you see typical stone sinks carved out of. But I really like the straight sides that I think I'll get out of this if I chop the top, compared to some other stone sinks that are very round and bowl-shaped on the outside. I made marks 2 inches and 7 inches up around the rock with a Sharpie for a roughly 5-inch blank with a flat bottom and top. And I tried to prop it up straight. Something like that. And I plan on using this huge concrete saw that I rented from Home Depot to slice this huge rock. This connects to a garden hose and has a 14-inch blade. Let's do it! Just so we're all on the same page, I was totally winging it here. The only other time that I had rented a large concrete saw like this was to cut patio pavers. My plan was just to hold the saw as square as I could and follow the line and allow that cut line to guide the blade. But I think it's fair to say this is not the intended use for a saw like this. If you take on a similar project, make sure you're always really careful. After plunging as deep as I could from the top of the rock, I flipped it over and I did the same thing for the other half. I rented this saw for 4 hours, which would have been about $85, but I ended up extending that to 24 hours, which cost 150 something bucks from Home Depot. That's a lot more expensive than I remember renting one for a few years ago. This saw was a ton of fun to use though. It's got a ton of power, so I didn't have to push the tool hard. I just let the weight of it be the majority of the downward pressure, and I tried to focus on keeping the saw blade square and straight. The saw blade had a cut capacity of about 6 inches, so I wasn't able to cut all the way through the stone, but I went all the way around the perimeter. My next challenge was trying to figure out how to break away the top of this rock, and I figured a sledgehammer was a good place to start. I was careful not to strike our stone blank, but I was a little less worried about my leg.
That didn't feel good.
Nice! Not gonna lie, I was nervous making that hit. I thought using the concrete saw to make some scores in the remaining stone would make it chip away easy with the sledgehammer, but I was wrong. So I grabbed a 4.5-inch stone and concrete grinding wheel for my angle grinder. And this took care of it medium quick, about 15 minutes. That worked better than I thought, and it was really fast. Next, I shimmed and leveled up my rock so that I could cut the bottom flat. This sink project is the first time I'm doing any kind of stone carving, and it's really got me excited about a concrete saw like this. Out here in the Southern California desert where I'm at, there are a ton of rocks, but there's not a lot of big logs. And with the price of materials nowadays being pretty ridiculous, stone projects like this are becoming a lot more attractive. Plus, they've got that custom designer feel, and it really matches the Joshua Tree aesthetic. In this shot, you can see where my blade started to drift on me just a little bit. I wanted to point that out because it was really easy to flatten out later on. This starting blank doesn't have to be perfect. It was way easier to chip away the thinner bottom section of the rock, and once only the middle was left, I used what's called a mason's chisel to chip away a lot of it. Whoa! I decided to score what was left with the concrete saw and then try and chip this away using the same chisel. It worked a little bit better than the sledgehammer, but I trimmed everything flush using a diamond cutting and grinding disc on the grinder. I liked using this more than the previous grinding wheel. I flipped the rock so that the top was facing up, and now it's time to start cutting the bowl. I wanted to take advantage of that big 14-inch diamond blade, and my first thought was to score the rock in a star-shaped pattern. And from there, I might be able to break away some of these pieces with that mason's chisel. I started by hitting the stone really lightly, removing some of the thinner pieces, but I'm not gonna lie, I started swinging hard on this thing, and I broke the rock. Check that out. I didn't even notice when it happened. I just kept sawing and hammering for the last 30 minutes of sunlight until I came back the next day.
Huh?
What happened? Oh no. It cracked. When did it happen? So I guess it was when I was chiseling. It came off pretty clean though. Oh, it fits in there perfect. This is when I had a light bulb moment. Don't worry, everybody. I've got a plan. I am gonna repair this stone using JB Weld, and then I'm gonna gold leaf it, AKA Kintsugi. I've done a couple projects in this style before. It's Japanese. I'm sure I didn't pronounce it right. JB Weld is maybe the most classic epoxy product I know of, and it bonds pretty much anything. In fact, I used it to repair the engine block on my boat when I didn't winterize it properly, and it's held up, so I trust it. And now, it's go time. I started by using a putty knife to spread the JB Weld where I'm repairing this stone. And after a minute, I switched to a chip brush to really work that in to the texture of the rock. I applied JB Weld to the mating piece of stone as well, and then put the two pieces together. I tried my best to smush these two together, and then I moved on to the smaller pieces. I was really fortunate that I got pretty clean breaks, and I didn't have to deal with trying to fit in any tiny pieces. This was kind of like putting a fun puzzle together. I tried not to make too much of a mess, but I was able to clean up squeeze out with a wire wheel later on. The JB Weld I'm using cures in 24 hours, so after clamping this up, I let it set overnight. The next day, I was pleased with how strong everything felt, and the dark gray color of the JB Weld blended great with the rock, even though we're going to be gold leafing all of these cracks. By now I had returned the concrete saw. Everything else I'm doing is with the angle grinder. I started flattening the bottom with the cutting and grinding disc, but then I switched to the grinding wheel, which is a little bit more aggressive. I'll make sure and leave links to the tools, materials, and supplies I used in the description below. With the bottom super flat, I could flip our stone over and resume where we left off before this whole thing split in half. I started again with the concrete cutting and grinding disc to cut away the larger sections left from the concrete saw that I was hitting with the chisel. From now on, you're not going to see me being nearly as aggressive with the sledgehammer. I attempted wet cutting now that I had a bowl that could hold some water, but I'm going to be honest, it made such a mess, I do not recommend doing this. If I do another stone sink, I'll dry grind the whole bowl. And that was the end of day 2. Wet grinding was just too messy, so I think today I'm gonna stick to dry grinding. The approach I took is similar to what I did with the concrete saw, just on a smaller scale. I made scores across the sink bowl that were a couple of inches deep, and then I plunged my disc in and flattened it out to cut away about a ½ inch at a time. It didn't take long to remove quite a bit of material, but I started getting nervous cutting this close to the edge of my sink, so I switched to the grinding wheel. With this, I could bring the edge of the bowl opening I'm making closer to the ends of the scores that I made with the concrete saw. The bowl was really starting to take shape here, and it got me excited. I still want to bring this entire bowl down almost another inch, and you can see in this next time lapse the way I was able to do that. I eventually needed to add this extender onto the angle grinder so that the wheel could reach deep enough into the bowl. I wasn't moving fast, but each pass took away a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch of material. I eventually got down far enough that I had to add a longer extension onto my grinder wheel. Eventually, I felt like I got down far enough, and I started tapering in the carve-outs. You can see how I did that here. This will help the water drain towards the center. So far, I am very happy with the progress we've made, but everything's really squared off, and that's why I'm gonna switch to using this 2-inch spherical diamond angle grinder attachment. This diamond bit came in clutch for this project. I started by working from the center out, trying to give myself a little bit of taper towards the drain. Then I focused on trying to make a clean, round transition between the wall and the bottom of our sink bowl. This is my favorite new find from this project, and it's got me inspired to do a lot more free-form carving with rocks. It carves material cleanly and quickly, and it's what I use to match and trace the outside perimeter of the rock into the bowl. I basically want a 1-inch wall around the top of the sink. Just using my eye and going off feel was a really fun part of this step. I could really see this spherical bit being handy for a lot of cool projects. You can make stone cups or bowls, flower pots, and who knows what else. If you've got any ideas of what you would make with this angle grinder ball carver, if that's what you want to call it, let me know. And here we are at day 4, flattening out the top of our sink. I was really nervous that during that grinding process, something would crack, but everything looks like it's holding up. And we are now on to the polishing stage. I've got this 3-inch grinding wheel that connects to a drill with a series of diamond polishing discs, starting at 50 grit. I used this on the bottom of the bowl and along the top rim. Then I switched to this smaller 2-inch diamond polishing pad, and that's what I used on the walls of the bowl. These 2-inch diamond pads and the 2-inch carving ball have the same radius, so this worked out really well polishing the transition between the bottom of the bowl and the walls too. For 200 grit and higher, you want to wet polish so you don't burn your pads. And this kit went all the way up to 10,000 grit, and this one had a real thick pad, which was nice for all the contours. Even after it dried, this bowl was shining.
We're done.
And that concludes day 4. I'm not sure what this is. On the outside of the rock, it's some kind of dirt, but it almost looks like Portland cement. It's really noticeable when the rock is wet, so I'm assuming it's also going to be noticeable when the sealer's applied to the outside. I wire brushed it by hand for a while, but then I switched to a wire wheel that goes in the drill, and I was able to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone here. I also used the wheel to remove any JB weld that was on the surface of the stone that I don't plan on gold leafing. And that worked surprisingly well. Let's get this inside. And now we're on to the fun part, gold leafing, or Kintsugi. But first, I want to give a big thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode. Your one-stop shop to build your own website or online store, and that has never been easier with Squarespace's design intelligence and Blueprint AI, Squarespace's next-generation AI-enhanced website builder. And Squarespace sites have tons of great features like SEO integration. They do all the complicated back-end work to make sure you show up more often on search engines. And with Squarespace invoices, you can get paid faster and impress your clients with on-brand invoices. Plus, you can streamline your workflow from proposals to contracts, invoices, and seamless online payments all in one place. And finally, with Squarespace email campaigns, you've got all the tools you need to engage your clients, promote your services, and build your business built in. So to learn more, make sure and follow my link down in the description. That's squarespace.com/modernbuilds. And when it's time to make your new site live, don't forget to use my code ModernBuilds to get 10% off your first site, store, or domain through Squarespace. Huge thanks to Squarespace and you guys for watching. Now let's gold leaf. The gold leafing kit I got from Amazon was a great deal, and it looks like real gold. Gold leafing is something I've done a couple of times, and the cool part is it's a straightforward, simple process. Step 1 is painting on the gilding adhesive anywhere you want your gold leaf. I used a really fine paintbrush so that I could get into these cracks. This is one of those tasks where you really want to paint inside the lines, because I mean anything at all that this adhesive gets on, the gold leaf will stick to. Now, if you use acetone or paint thinner on a rag, the gold leaf will remove easily, but I strongly recommend taking your time and being meticulous on this section. Kintsugi directly translates to golden joinery. It's a traditional Japanese way of repairing broken ceramics and pottery by actually highlighting the repair instead of trying to hide it, and that's cool. It's now game time. This stuff is really brittle, but I'm going to try and get a full sheet and place it along the crack. Try and work it into the crack. I know this looks like a mess, but stick with me. And then wipe away the extra. Oh, this is gonna work. This is gonna work. Let's do this. Getting the gold leaf to actually get into the crack was a little bit difficult. The good news is gold leaf still looks good even if it's not laid perfectly flat. I used a brush to push the gold leaf into the cracks, and all of those flakes were able to find their place to nestle in and stick to the adhesive. And I also used that brush to try and wipe away anything that flaked off or didn't stick. When you have the opportunity, you do want to try and lay your piece down flat. When it sticks down this way, it really catches light nicely. But for real, I cannot state how much fun this was. Over the last couple years, I've spent a lot of time doing home renovation projects, and doing something that's purely creative and fun like this, and some of my other terrazzo videos lately have been a really fun switch up. It's got me wanting to invest a lot more time in projects like this, so if you enjoyed this video, make sure and click thumbs up. And if you're on mobile, click that hype button. While I was carving, I was a little bit nervous about these hairline cracks in the top of the sink bowl, but now that I'm gold leafing, I was pumped they were there. And there was only this small section of JB weld that was exposed in the sink bowl. It was perfectly sealed, I just wanted to gold leaf it. About 30 minutes later, I came back and did a second round of gold leafing, just spot checking places I thought needed it. And now finally, I could drill a hole in the bottom of the sink basin for the drain to go through. This ended up being really difficult to do. My first bit wasn't long enough, so I went to Home Depot and I got a longer Milwaukee bit that got me close. I just ended up drilling a pilot hole through the sink bowl and then finishing up the cut from the bottom side. I used a 1.5-inch bit, and this was just a little bit too tight for my pop-up drain, but I filed on it for a second and I got it to fit. The next part was a little bit tricky. I used the diamond edge of my hole saw to create a little bit of recess for the rim of the drain to fit into. I was nervous doing this. I applied 4 coats of a low gloss sealer called Glaze and Seal. It's looked great on my terrazzo projects lately, and so that's what I'm using here. I love the way it made the outside of the stone look, and I'm happy that it didn't take away the shimmer from the gold leaf. And I found that this padding method was great for getting the finish into the grain of the wood. One thing about a rock is you have no idea what it's going to look like on the inside, but I'm really happy with mine. And here's what the brushed gold drain is going to look like. And we are done. Let's check it out. When this rock split in half, I was so bummed out. I had a plan for a cool project and I thought it totally failed. But what I got out of it ended up being 10 times cooler. I've seen stone carved rocks on YouTube and the internet before, but I have not seen one gold leafed like this. The rock broke in the perfect location. I feel like if I tried to do this project on purpose from the start, I wouldn't have gotten as good of a result as I did. Here's a 360 of the sink and a quick preview of what it's going to look like in the bathroom. That full renovation video is coming out tomorrow, so click subscribe. Ta-da! I'll leave a link when it's live. It's got a built-in water fountain. This will be so convenient brushing teeth. I'm just really happy that I never gave up on this project. When it cracked, I thought about it, but I ended up getting something cooler than I even planned originally. If you want to check out my other gold leaf or Kintsugi projects, they're on the screen. Make sure and like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Modern Builds. Thanks, everybody. Oh, if you build one of these, I want to see it. Make sure and tag me at Modern Builds on Instagram. Bye!